Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to film the Bougie BookTuber Tag, which has been going the rounds on BookTube recently. It was originally created by Olive over at a Book Olive. I will link her original tag down below. I don't believe I've been tagged by anyone, but it's been thrown open by multiple people who have done this tag, and I've really enjoyed their answers. And I have a slightly different take than most people do on this, so I thought I would share my responses. I want to point out that I've watched some really great responses to this book tag. Sean the Book Maniacs discussed it. Greg over at Supposedly Fun. Britta over at Britta Bowler did a discussion video about book pricing, and then just this morning I listened to Jen at Remembered Reads version, and all of which have brought different things to the tag and have made me think about my own answers. So I'm just going to get right into it, and I'm going to look off to the side because I have the questions here on my iPad. So the first question is, what is your average monthly budget for books? I don't have an average monthly budget for books. I basically buy books when I feel like I have a little bit extra disposable income at that particular time. I've never had a budget for books. In fact, I am probably at the most financially secure stage I've ever been in my life right now. But still, I'm married. I have 2 children, one of which is in college right now. So, you can imagine that brings extra costs to the family. And my book buying has always been my personal hobby, and so I don't feel like I can overspend in that area just because of my financial circumstance and my other obligations. So I don't have an average monthly budget. Number 2, what's the most you've ever spent in a bookstore? I don't often shop in actual bookstores, and this is kind of where I start to differ from other folks in my answers. As you guys know, I'm from Maine. I live in a very rural part of the state. I live 2 hours at best from a independent bookstore. The only outlet for buying books that I have in my local area is Walmart. And they don't really carry the kind of books that I like to read at this point in my life. And so I do buy from Amazon, and I do buy from online outlets, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have any source for those books. So, and this kind of going to bleed into question 3, which is, are you willing to pay full price for a brand new release, or will you wait till you have a coupon or there's a sale? So first of all, the most I've ever spent in a bookstore, I don't believe I've ever spent more than $50 in a bookstore in my life. If I did spend more than that, it was because it was Christmas time and I was buying presents. When I do get to a larger area and I'm in a bookstore, I might buy myself 1 or 2 books at full price. But the other problem that I always have is, from a young age, I have been a quick reader. And so I always look at the number of pages and the price for the book, and that plays into my calculation of whether it's worth it to me to buy the book new. So, for example, I have a hard time justifying to myself to pay, full price for a new hardcover that's 200 pages when I can buy, like $25 for a new hardcover that's 200 pages long, when I could buy, 2 or 3 paperbacks for that same price and have a longer time spent reading. So that always plays into my calculation as well. So am I willing to pay full price for a new book? Well, yes, I am, if it's a book that I really, really want. But I tend not so much to think about who is going to get the money on the other end versus what my situation is. So I'm very much coming at it from the consumer side of trying to get the biggest bang for my buck for my purchasing of books, knowing that I read quickly and I read a lot, and that I only have so many dollars to spend on books. What's the best situation for me, which is why I love library book sales so much, because for $20 I can get 20 books and be, much happier than if I go into a bookstore and spend $20 and get one book. It's just quantity and what I can financially afford to do. And let's just talk about the elephant in the room and me using Amazon. I know a lot of folks don't use Amazon, and they have very good reason to not use Amazon. But like I said, I live in a rural area. I don't have access to bookstores. I know I could purchase stuff from indie bookstores and have it shipped to me, but in a lot of cases, the shipping adds a significant cost to the price of the books, and that to me is financially, I just have a hard time doing that. Not to say I wouldn't ever do it, but it like regularly not going to happen. And a lot of folks have talked about, if you want to support authors and you want to support the publishing industry and you want that to continue, then Amazon is not a good place to purchase your books because all their bad practices, which fair enough. But my thought to that is also, there's a lot of people that work for Amazon in those warehouses, and there's a lot of people that are employed by the shipping industry, like Ops and FedEx in the United States and other companies in other places in the world who, if you talk to the Ops and the FedEx drivers around here, they will tell you that since the advent of online retail, they are busier than ever. They've hired more people. They work longer hours. They get better pay. So what about those people is my question. We're supporting those big corporations, which I agree. I don't like the big retailers any more than anyone else, but there's also all those people that work for those big retailers that we support in the meantime. And a lot of those people are working for real crap wages too, and in really terrible conditions. And, I think that if we're going to talk about who we support with our dollars and voting with our dollars, which all of that is something that I totally agree with as well, there are people that work for those big corporations as well. And so, there's positives and negatives to every outlet for book sales is all I'm going to say. Okay, enough of that. Enough of my soapbox there. Question 4, would you rather buy one new book or several less expensive used copies? I think I've covered that. And 5, what do you think is a reasonable price for a new hardback book, a paperback, or an ebook? So I don't really have any problem with what the price of a hardcover book is. I feel like a new hardcover is probably worth, the retail price that they ask for it. They're definitely better quality generally, and I know there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes. After watching Britta's video, the only thing that concerns me is how little percentage the author actually gets of all of that. I don't dispute what the publisher needs and what the bookstore owner needs, but the fact that the author is only getting, 10% that's crazy. They're the one that created the product. If it wasn't for the author, we wouldn't have it at all. So that's kind of frustrating to me. I think that the price of mass market paperbacks is a little bit crazy to me because those are definitely produced to be disposable. Like the quality of them is not as good. And sometimes they're asking like $10 now for a mass market paperback. And I think that's a little outrageous. And ebook pricing, I agree with what a lot of folks have said. I don't think ebooks should be priced, at 99 cents necessarily, unless it's on sale or it's a older book. But I also don't want to pay more for an ebook than I would for the new book, like the new paperback or the new hardcover. That's crazy. And the fact that I can't do what I want to with that book, that I don't really own it as far as the ebook goes, really bothers me because I like to, what if I don't like the book and I want to get rid of it? I can't trade it in for credit, or I can't sell it and get something else, or I can't even give it to my local library as a donation. So yeah, ebook prices are just, I'm not a fan of ebook prices. Question 6, is a signed book worth more to you or a first edition? No, I don't really care about any of that. Mostly I care about content and getting the story into my brain. I do not have much interest. I have no interest in first editions. I never even pay any attention to that. Signed copies I would only care about if they were personally addressed to me, like I had met the author and gotten a signed copy, and that's never happened. So I don't, like I said, I don't live near any bookstores, so I never get to go to author events. So that's not true. I shouldn't say that. I have a friend who is a self-published author, and I have his books, and he has signed them personally to me, and those ones are more important to me. So yes, if they were signed personally to me, they would have more value to me. Question 7, what is your most valuable book, sentimental or actual value? I have a lot of books that are valuable to me in the sentimental perspective. Some of my books that I had when I was a child are worth a great deal to me because I remember what it felt like to read those books or have them read to me, and they mean a lot to me. Some of the books that I read my kids when they were little have a lot of sentimental value, and I am sentimental about books that I've read and enjoyed in general. I don't have any really valuable books other than that I know of. I mean, monetarily valuable. Question 8, will you pay more for a cover or edition you like better? Generally no, but there are instances where yes. So I will pay more, and where this usually happens is with a classic, right? Because a lot of classics you can just get for free on Project Gutenberg, or you can go to your library and get a copy of it. But if I want it for my own personal library, I am finding that I really enjoy certain publishers' versions of that. So a lot of times those are the books that I will put on my Christmas list or my birthday list because cheap and I hate to spend my own money but on a book for more money than I kind of would rather not. But I do like a lot of the classics editions, and I do like to have those versions of that classic on my shelves if I can. Question 8. Oh no, that's the one I just did. Question 9. What physical characteristics does a good quality book have? I guess to me, I know this is sacrosanct for some people, but I like deckled edges. I like French flaps. Paper quality, is something that I do notice. As Jen at Remembered Read said, if the spine is sewn versus glued in, that's noticeable. Yeah, I don't know. Just the heft and the weight of the book oftentimes will tell you the quality of it. And I do enjoy a nice feeling book when I read it. And 10, if you won a lottery, what bookish things would you do with the money? I would, first of all, I would provide an endowment to my local public library, which I love and I use all the time. And they are constantly, battling budget issues, and I would love to be able to support them more than I currently can. I also would probably not have to think about where and how much my books cost, where I get my books from and how much they cost. So I could spend more money on, I would love to, if I won the lottery, I would love to go into an indie bookstore and just spend as much money as I wanted to and buy everything that I was interested in and not have to decide and narrow it down to the 1 or 2 books that I feel like I can't live without in that moment. That is something that I've always dreamed, that's a personal dream of mine. If I could ever do something like that, that would be awesome. And then the bonus question, give us an image of your dream home library. You guys have seen my videos that shows what my home library looks like. It's pretty close to my dream. The only thing that I would add that I don't currently have is a window seat. I love window seats in libraries. And I would have a big wide one with lots of comfy pillows and nice blankies, and it would be awesome. So those are my answers to the Bougie BookTube tag. I hope that I haven't offended anyone here. And again, this is my personal opinion. It's not meant to be telling anybody else that they're wrong for doing things the way they do them. I also like to vote with my dollar, and I definitely believe in that concept that we all support what we believe in, but I also think that there's a balance to that, and people can only do what they can do financially. And just because they may not be able to always buy a new book at an indie bookstore does not mean that they don't love books or support authors or support reading. I would submit to all of you that all of us that have a booktube channel and talk about books are supporting authors in the publishing industry with our time and our effort in making these videos, right? We're book pushers. We are the kind of people that are constantly trying to get other people to read books. So, I mean, how much more supportive can you get than that, I guess, is where I'm coming from. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I will talk to you later.